Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem, Na'aseh v'natzliach. I want to welcome you to the Beacon Tower Lunch and Learn as we continue our learning of the Parashat Shavua, the weekly Parsha learning. I want to give an honorable mention to our gracious host, H&M Builders, for allowing us the use of their office space, as well as Judah Mendel from Mendel Law for putting this whole thing together. I also want to thank our sponsor, Judah Mendel from Mendel Law, for sponsoring this beautiful spread that we have here today. And Bezat Hashem, that we merit to continue having these beautiful spreads by Judah Mendel. Hashem barech otcha v'sameach otcha, and give you continued success as you always bring the goods every single week. Also want to give an honorable mention to the people that are here in the room. Thank you so much. May Hashem bless you for leaving your Tuesday night that you could be doing anything else to come over here and learn Torah with us. Bezat Hashem, this also be the tzlacha of Todailu Nishmat of Shmuel ben Amuma, David ben Zohara, Yaniv ben Rinam, Moshe Halevi ben Shoshana, and David ben Zohara, and I believe it's all that. Okay, let's get started. This week's parasha is Parashat Yitro. Sometimes you need to think outside of the box. Sometimes you need to zoom outside of the Pesukim to see, is the Torah speaking to me? Is Hashem speaking to me? Sometimes when we do the Parsha learning, what do? We go into the Pasuk, you read the Rashi, want the explanation. We're so deep inside the Parasha that we don't realize what's really going on. As a matter of fact, anyone who studies Parashat Shavua, anyone who studies the weekly portion of the Parasha, knows what I'm talking about. Hashem speaks to us through the Parasha. If you did 1 year or 2 year cycle of Parashat Shavua, many people will tell you that everything that they're going through in their personal life can be found in the Parasha as well as the answer. And sometimes the question that you have, some way, somehow you read something and there it is. You have to be in it to understand it. If you're not in it, it's good to start. Because if you start, you get to benefit from the special relationship of Hashem speaking to you through the Torah. I'll give you an example. Hashem speaks to us in many different ways. He speaks to us through storylines, through pesukim, through characters, through many different things. Something that I thought was super, super interesting. In Parashat Bo, just a couple of weeks ago, when this whole coronavirus was going on, is it possible to find the coronavirus in the Parasha? Is it? You'd be surprised. This is something that's been written thousands of years ago. Rashi, who's the commentary hundreds of years ago. What did they know that exactly on Parashat Bo there's going to be the coronavirus? But if you go to Perek Yud Bet and you go to Pasuk Tet, it tells us exactly what's going on in that week. It says, Al tochelu mimeno na. It tells us not to eat raw meat. You know what happens in China? They're eating ever minachai. They're eating raw meat. They're eating live animal. And from that, that's one of the 7 Noahide laws that you're not allowed to eat ever minachai. And they're getting a punishment for it right now. So fine, great. I found somewhere that says, Al tochelu mimeno na. Don't eat raw food. Great. But here's the best. Here's the thing that proves to you that the Parsha speaks to you. If you go to Rashi, on Pasuk Tet, if you go to Rashi, Yud Bet, Perek Yud Bet, Pasuk Tet, it says over there, Al tochlu mimeno na, don't eat from it raw. Look what it says. She'eno tzailui kol tzorko, that it's not cooked fully. Kor'o na. You call that na, which is in Hebrew means raw. Did you hear what I said? Kor'o na. It's called na. Kor'o na. Are we living? Is the parasha living with us? How's that possible?
100%.
It's incredible. Well, this is just a tiny example to show you that everything is inside. Everything is in our Torah. So if that's the fact, what does the parasha want to teach me this week? What does Hashem want to talk to me this week? What does He want to tell me? What lesson can I learn from Parashat Yitro? Show me something that I can walk out of this door and say, you know what? Hashem is talking to me. I want to do what is going on over here in this parasha. Well, in order to prove it to you, we have to take a couple of steps to get there. First, in last week's parasha, in Parashat Beshalach, we had the infamous Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus, leaving Egypt. And we went from a situation where we were slaves for over 210 years, and we became a freed nation, ma'avdud lecherut. And we went from being slaves to independence, and then even when one notch higher, became incredibly rich. The Bizat Hayam, every single Jew went from being a pauper, from rags to riches, from a slave to a free person. And not only that, from nothing in the bank to millions in the bank. All this happened at the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Now that Egypt is behind you, right? Paro and the army are buried in Yam Suf. Now what? As a Jew, now what? You were just a slave. You were just saved. You just became rich. What's the next step? You would imagine that this, on a secular level, is what everybody wishes for, right? Not to work and to be filthy rich, right? Isn't this the time to just go on vacation and relax? Well, apparently that's not what happened to the Jews in the desert. There was something that they had to do. They had a spiritual journey. They had a 50-day journey from the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim until they made it to Har Sinai, where they received the Torah, Matan Torah. So we see this 50-day process. There was something that there was a use for it, and our rabbis tell us that those were 50 days of character refinement. In other words, they weren't so ready to accept the holiest thing in the world like the Torah. They needed to go through a 50-day process, a character refinement, so they can find themselves at the foot of Har Sinai, Am Echad Lev Echad, united, all in peace, to receive the Torah. And through this entire process, we witness the birth of a nation. We witnessed the birth of a new society, the birth of Am Yisrael, because we know them as a small family that moved into Egypt with 70 nefashot, and then after a period of 210 years, they came out of Mitzrayim, a multitude of a nation. But as a nation, they have no character. They still need to define themselves. And part of that 50-day process and the receiving of the Torah is what we're dealing with in this week's parashiot. Now, this whole story of the Exodus, the climax of Yetziat Mitzrayim, is the receiving of the Torah in Har Sinai. You know, that was like the biggest thing. Everything was leading up to Yetziat Mitzrayim. And everything was leading up to Matan Torah. And what was given during Matan Torah? It gave us a sampling of the Torah. We got the Aseret HaDibrot. We got the 10 Commandments. What are the 10 Commandments? The 10 Commandments are the 10 laws. The top 10 laws, the rabbis tell us that you can learn all 613 laws from the 10 Commandments. So Hashem gave us almost like the nucleus of the Torah. He gave us almost like the tamtzit, the DNA, the essence of the Torah in these Aseret HaDibrot, which from there will derive all 613. And we, as we say so famously here in this class, I have to give credit to the taxi driver in New York that taught me this, that when Hashem gave us the Torah is called the Bible, they were given Bible as basic instructions before leaving earth. They got the instruction manual. They got the instruction manual of what to do. Hashem didn't just throw them to the world or to people, go swim. He says, you're my children, you're my nation, I saved you, you've worked yourself up for 50 days. Here is the book, go be successful. Here's the way to be successful in my world. So, in short, we have slaves that went from slavery to freedom. From freedom, they went to character refinement. From character refinement, they were able to be unified at the foot of Har Sinai. They received the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Commandments were eventually leading to the full 613. So let's come back to the original question of the class. What does this mean to me? What does this whole journey mean to me? I mean, it's a nice story. It's a story that the children love to hear. It's a story that we like to repeat all the time. And we're actually commanded to repeat the story every single day. In Pesach, it's the story that we're never supposed to forget. But what does this mean to me? So, like I said in the beginning of the class, sometimes you have to zoom out of the Pesukim. You sometimes have to think outside of the box and to see what is going on over here. Well, there's something that you should know when we take this wide-angle look at the story, is that there is spiritual energy in the world. There are certain times in the year where the months have certain powers. There are certain days that have certain powers. There are certain holidays that have certain powers. Us as Jews, we live life by the calendar. If you open up the calendar, you can see that there are special days that if you get plugged in, you can bring a funnel of spiritual energy into your life. Most commonly, on daily basis, is on a weekly basis, we have Shabbat. After Shabbat, we have Rosh Chodesh. After Rosh Chodesh, we have the Chagim. But besides that system of spiritual energy that's available to us, the months have spiritual energy. There's certain months that have a very dark energy, dinim as they're called, strict judgment, and typically we lay low, we try not to do too much during those months. Like for example, the months of Tammuz, the months of Av, those are months that belong to Esav, and we don't do anything. And then there's months that are to our favor, like Adar, like Nisan, like Sivan. Those are, Adar is known as, that has Mazala Beria, that has a healthy month, has a lot of luck. The Chazal tell us if you have to go to court on Adar. It's when you have good energy that you can even win a case against a goy. So there's different months throughout the year. Different types of spiritual energy that's available to us. So maybe you don't know this, but just yesterday on Tu B'Shvat, we finished a very dark cycle. Between Rosh Hashanah, between the holiday seasons, up until Rosh Hashanah Rabbah, up until now, even though that we have Chanukah, which is a huge light, and it starts to switch a little bit in our favor, but in reality, Mar Cheshvan, Kislev, and Tevet, their spiritual energy is problematic. There's a lot of if you don't know how to maneuver yourself in those months, you can make a lot of mistakes. The good months, the months with very good spiritual energy, actually started yesterday. Yesterday, everything shifted. On Tu B'Shvat, go ahead, make a bracha. Amen. Yesterday, on Tu B'Shvat, is the day when when the spiritual energy of the month switches over. Amen. And I will try to make you understand in a symbol. Is anyone familiar with the Chinese symbol of yin and yang?
Yeah.
Did you ever see it?
Yeah.
It's black and white and a little curvy line in the middle. Do you know what that means? Chinese, the Chinese have things that are spiritual and some things that are not. We spoke about the coronavirus. We'll talk about something else, maybe positively. What the yin and yang stands for is the black side of it represents dark energy. The white side of it represents white energy, clean energy, good energy. The line in between, that's Tu B'Shvat. That's Tu B'Shvat. The difference between the months that were dark and the months that are good, what is the day that flips it over? What's that one day that crosses them over? Tu B'Shvat.
All good, all the days are good. The dark and the whatever, right?
Everything is good all the time, but we're making a point over here. So we see over here that the energy shifted. What is the energy of Tu B'Shvat? That was just yesterday. Tu B'Shvat is an energy of flourishing, of things growing. Because if you really want to know on a deeper level, Tu B'Shvat, Chag LaIlanot. It's the Rosh Hashanah of the Ilanot. It's the holiday of the trees. What does that mean? What do you mean the holidays of the trees? So on a deeper level, if you want to understand it, it takes about 4 months from the time of the 15th of Tishrei up until the 15th of Tevet for all the rains to soak into the ground and create certain nutrients. And once they do that, they are able to, exactly on Tu B'Shvat is the day where the sap goes from the roots of the trees all the way into the branches of the trees. And in a little bit, in Nisan, we're going to see what? We're going to see the buds. So on Tu B'Shvat is when the tree starts to bring from the ground the sap. It goes into the branches and it starts to flourish and it starts to begin the process of bearing fruit. That's what Tu B'Shvat is about. If any of you tapped into Tu B'Shvat, a lot of the rabbis that circulate some of the Amen. A lot of the rabbis circulate that what is the job of Tu B'Shvat besides the fact that physically we want to plant trees and physically we want the earth and all the vegetation to grow. This is also an opportunity for new beginnings. It's an opportunity to flourish. This is when you are asked to actually pray, to flourish in your Torah learning, to grow in your spirituality, to be able to ask for a zivu, to ask for shlom bayit, to ask for parnasa. Tu B'Shvat is where the energy changes in our favor, where things are now in the spiritual energy is that good energy, that lucky energy. Amen. So if we want to flourish, and we want to grow, what's the first thing that we want to do? What's the first thing, if I want to flourish as a person, as a Jew, what's the first step that I should do?
Cleansing.
Excellent. The Pasuk says, not the Pasuk, the saying says, Hashem says to us, Ki lekach tov natati lachem et torati al ta'azovu. What does that mean? I gave you a good item. It's like, if you imagine if you're a manufacturer and you have an item that everybody wants, it's a lekach tov. I gave you ki lekach tov natati lachem. I gave you my best item. Et torati, my Torah, don't leave. As a matter of fact, did you know that, who knows the gematria of tov? 17. If you count 17 parashiot from the beginning of the Torah, what's the 17th parsha? Yitro. And what does Yitro stand for? Yitro, what you could do is you could take the Yud and turn it into two Hays. And Yitro becomes HaTorah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem. What did I give you? I gave you HaTorah. In other words, Hashem, if you want to start flourishing and growing, what's the first thing that you do? Torah. And how do you start? Well, if you go a little bit into the story of Yitro, Yitro is famously known not just for the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu visiting him in the desert, but this is the parasha that we received, HaTorah. This is the parasha that we received, the 10 Commandments, Har Sinai, right? So, what did we say about the 10 Commandments? The 10 Commandments we said is the capsule. It's the whole 613 encapsulated into one. So Hashem says, if you want to grow, let's start off with the basics. Let's start off with the top 10. Let's see how you are with the top 10. The 613, they'll come out of this. But let's start with the top 10 laws before you get overwhelmed with 613. Now, I know everybody knows the 10 Commandments, but sometimes it's good to check yourself. Sometimes it's good to check yourself. How are you faring with the 10 Commandments? I mean, these are the big ones, right? The truth is, they're all big. All 613 is big. There's not one more or one less. But, welcome, Isaac. But how do you fare with the 10 Commandments? Let's do a quick test. The first one says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am Hashem, I am your God. So the first thing that you should ask over here, do you believe in God? That's a big one. The first one, Hashem wants to know, do you believe in me? Do you believe in God? Not only that, is He your God? Because you know, a God is something that you worship. What do you worship? Do you worship God, or are you worshiping something else? As a matter of fact, at the end of the parasha, it tells us, Lo ta'asun iti, don't make in front, I'll read it from my, you shall not make with me, in other words, don't compare with me, Elohe kesef ve'elohe zahav, gods of silver and gold, or gods of money and or things that are materialistic. That's at the end of the parasha, the last few pasukim. Who is your God? Is your business your God? Do you worship your business? Do you worship the dollar? Do you worship sports? How good are you with Anochi Hashem Elokecha? On the first one. Well, if you believe in Hashem, it's a start. To worship Hashem, that's work. You need to work on it little by little. You always get better, you always get better, you always get better, you always get better. But it's a challenge. Even on the first one, you see right away, it's not so simple. It's not so simple. That next one. Lo hiye lecha elokim acharim al panai. In other words, there shouldn't be other gods there shouldn't be other gods besides me. Over here we can understand what's other gods. Meaning Hashem is the God. He's the one that you worship. Are you always only in the ways of Hashem? Or do you have other ideologies? Are you always in the ways of Hashem, or are you half and half? Nowadays, it's very interesting. A lot of us are half and half Jews. You go and you say, I believe in Hashem, but, and whatever that but is. You know, as a matter of fact, this is not something new. And od milvado, but a lot of times we are not 100% in the ways of Hashem. We're in the ways of the Goyim and in the ways of Hashem. Everything mixed up. It's all mixed. As a matter of fact, Eliyahu Navi, when he came down and he was facing the Jews, he tells them, choose a side. Look what it says. He tells them, when Eliyahu came to Israel in the time of the Baal, he tells them, Im retzonchem gam ba'al. Meaning, I understand, I see the kippah, I see the tzitzit, I see the beard, אבל אם רצונכם גם בבעל, but if you really also want the Baal, you also want the Avodah Zarah, that you guys believe in him, לכו אחריו, go after it. Be real. If you want it, be real, go after it. And he says, don't שלא יטעה את עצמו, don't fool yourself, שינהו כביכול משני העולמות. He tells him that you are right now dancing in both worlds. Choose a side. Which one do you want? Do you want this side or that side? You have to choose. You can't have two gods. The first 10 commandments tell you can only have one God. So after he tells you one's God, he says, but let me reiterate, לא יהיה לך אלוקים אחרים על פניי. There shouldn't be another God that we are integrated. So in other words, here when we live in the Gola, we have a lot of the ways of the Goyim embedded in our day-to-day life, and we still consider ourselves Jews. In reality, it's not 100%. It's either this way or that way. There's no 50-50. Look, we're already on the second commandment. We're already in trouble. I'm sure by Lot Yitzhak we'll be okay. You know? Exactly. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. It says Lo tisa. Number 3. Let's see. Number 3. Lo tisa et Shem Hashem Elokecha lashav. You're not allowed to say Hashem's name in vain. Okay. Very simply put, what does it mean? That we're not allowed to swear. You shouldn't sound like this. I swear to God, I promise you. You should never say that. That's one of the 10 commandments. You don't use Hashem's name in vain. There's some people that in order to close a deal, I swear to you, and they say God's name and my hand is on mezuzah. Relax, buddy. It's $100. It's $1,000. It's $100,000. What do you don't have to. You don't have to say God's name in order to say it. Say I have my word, or I tell you, or what I'm telling you is 100% truth. You don't have to swear in the name of God. You know, back in the days, if you were taken to court, they would, this whole thing that they put your hand on the hand, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and that you're under oath. Where did that come from? From us. That people would come and they would have to say, they would put their hand on a Sefer Torah, testify. Meaning, whatever you're saying, your hand is on the Sefer Torah that it's true. Some people were in the Gemara, there's many instances that some people were so scared to even say the name of God on their lips. They said, wait, what does he want from me? $1,000? Take it. Leave me alone. I'm not saying the name of God. But they tell him, but you're innocent. I'm not saying the name of God. The Gemara has many instances where people let go of their testimony in order not to Lo tisat Shem Hashem Elokim lashav. They said, I don't know, maybe there's something behind the scene, maybe something that I'm not sure about. I'm 100% sure about me, but I don't know what everything else. Maybe there's something random that I'm not aware. I'm not taking this upstairs with me. Here's the money, leave me alone. You have to be careful not to say God's name in vain, and also, something more practical. We say God's name so many times a day. We say berachot, right? And what happens when you say a bracha and you made this wrong bracha? Oh, I'm sorry. And you go, Baruch Ata Hashem. For example, you have Borei Pri Ha'etz, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech Borei Pri Ha'adama. Oh, sorry. Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech Borei Pri Ha'etz. You just took God's name in vain. You know that it's better to not say beracha than to say two berachot. If you're not sure, you say, Hashem, I don't know the beracha, and because safek berachot lehakel, we have a law. When you don't know what is the beracha, we have lehakel. It's okay, don't say it. It's better to not say it, as opposed to what? Saying God's name in vain. So we have to be very, very careful not to take God's name and say it twice. Or let's just say you made up a Birkot HaShachar. Baruch Ata Hashem, you're saying it by heart all of a sudden. Did I say that one? I didn't say that one. What do you think? You can just go back and repeat? Stop. You're not allowed to take Hashem's name in vain. It's better not to say a bracha than to say two wrongfully. Which also, by the way, if you do that, the rabbi tells, then what you have to do is just say in your mind, let's say that you forgot to say one bracha, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Shakoni Midvaro Hashem. I'm not sure if I said Shem Hashem. I'm just saying it like in my heart, or even to say it inside of you with Shem Elokut, but not to say it out loud. Not repeating it. Number 4, Zachor et Yom HaShabbat. Okay, number 4, who keeps Shabbat? You guys keep Shabbat? No, don't keep Shabbat. You don't have to reveal yourself. But do you keep Shabbat? And when you keep Shabbat, how do you keep Shabbat? Are you keeping it the right way? Are you on the level, I just don't drive, I don't use my phone, I don't turn on lights, but everything else you're desecrating the Shabbat? You don't know how to, what are the laws, what's allowed, what's not allowed? It says over here, Zachor et Yom HaShabbat. It tells you to remember the Shabbat. Why do I have to remember the Shabbat? Because that's what it is. On Shabbat, especially in the beginning, you have to remember it's Shabbat. And you have to remember what to do and what not to do. What to do and what not to do. Later on, it becomes to you like second nature. But in the beginning, you have to Zachor v'Shamor. You have to remember that it's Shabbat in order for you not to desecrate it. Rav Ovadia Yosef says that surely anybody who didn't review Hilchot Shabbat twice in their lifetime, for sure they're desecrating Shabbat. There's no question. There's one thing that they think is allowed and they don't know. That's why it's very important to learn Hilchot Shabbat, especially on Shabbat. It helps you keep the Shabbat better. It also sharpens you up, by the way. Number 5, Kabed et avicha v'et imecha. You have to respect your parents. So how's your relationship with your parents? A lot of people have, Baruch Hashem, a good relationship, but a lot of people, lo aleinu v'lo alechem, no connection. You're not allowed to have no connection. Not only that, not only not to have a connection, you have to respect them. You know the way people are talking to their parents nowadays? You know how the way the people are interacting? People call their parents by their name. You're not allowed to say your father's and mother's name. It's either Abba or Ima, or you never, even if somebody asks you, what's your father's name? You write it, you don't say it. And if you have to say it because it's sort of emergency or whatnot, you say, my father's name is such and such, or you say, Avi Mori, or Imi Morati, and then you say that.
And Shabbat for...
No, Aliyah is no problem. Yeah, Aliyah is no problem. As a matter of fact, back in the days, when a mother and a father come in, they stand up. The children stand up. They walk to the door and they kiss the hands of the parents. What happened? A father comes into the house from a long day of work. The kids are upside down on the couch, legs in the air, playing on a Game Boy. Hey, maybe he gets a hey dad. Maybe. Kabed avicha v'et imecha is not only when they're alive, also when they're dead. And not only that, if you're married, Kabed avicha v'et imecha is also your in-laws. It's very, very important. How do you keep the 5th commandment of Kabed avicha v'et imecha? I always say the easiest way to keep this mitzvah or keep this commandment is just knowing if it wasn't for them, I'd never be here. I owe them everything. Everything else, that's your nonsense in your head. Even if they're difficult, even if it's tough, whatever it is, you know what? They gave me life. I owe them everything. And I will, lisvol, it's lisvol, I will absorb everything that is difficult with me with my parents. Why? They gave me life. So easy. It's such a big trade-off. Such an easy trade-off. It doesn't matter what they do for you. They gave you life. Number 6, this is easy. Lo tirtzach, do not murder. So I can probably say for a good percentage of the people that there's no murderers over here. It's an easy one. Yeah? But what about character assassination? How about that? How about embarrassing a person in public? It's considered murder. So to physically killing, of course not. I'm a tzaddik. Number 6 is my favorite. It's the easiest one, right? But what about your mouth? What about that dagger of a tongue that you're stabbing people all day long and you're slashing them up? That he's like this and he's like that. He's good, he's bad, he's the worst. How's your character assassination? Not just the physical murder. Number 7, lo tin'af. Lo tin'af has to do with adultery. Ni'uf. Ni'uf is the root of that word, which by the way is also the Rashet Tevot of iPhone. Lotinaf, don't use iPhones. But Lotinaf is, are you honest in your marriage? Are you honest in your relationships? Do you protect your eyes? Do you make sure not to see things that take your mind off of the sanctity of your marriage? You know, some people believe or feel because it's on Facebook, because it's on Instagram, because everybody's watching it, then it's permissible. No. Protect yourself. Make sure that the thoughts that you have are for your wife only. And the things that you see in the physical can only be your wife. If you can bring up into your mind the body of 10 other women or 20 other women, my friend, you're not keeping number 8. I'm sorry, you're not keeping number 7. You're cheating on your wife with your eyes. It's very, very important that all that energy that you have, or that physical or sexual energy that a man has or a woman has, is directed to their spouse. It's very, very important, because otherwise if you go and you take that energy and you give it out to your phone and to that lady in the office, to that lady in the street, all of that, when it comes to that time where it's supposed to be used up with your wife, there's not enough there. And the relationship starts to, there's no connection. You would never go and sleep with another woman, but you cheat on her all day long with your eyes or with conversations. You have to be careful, you have to protect. Hashem gave you one, make it special. Us as Jews, it's not about going out and looking at everything and seeing everything. Our eyes are not for everything. Our eyes are for Torah. Our eyes are for things that are holy and things that add to us, that don't damage us. You know, it's very, very hard to go on iPhone and look at all those things and then go into shul the next day and try to pray with a clear mind. It can't. You know what the Yetzirah says? Thank you last night. I made an imprint in your mind of that girl, of that man, in that dress, in that outfit, in that bathing suit, this and that. You come, you try to pray Amidah, and those images are just running. Why? You gave him content. He gave the Yetzirah content. He's able to play with you. You gave him a full deck. All day long he can throw thoughts and images in your mind. You have to protect your mind. Lo tignov. Don't steal. Okay, oh Hashem, there's no thieves in the room. Or there's no thieves in general, right? But you know, stealing, it's not putting on a ski mask and holding a gun and going to rob a bank. It's not only stealing, there's different ways of stealing. When you're at work and you get paid by the hour and you're not working, you're stealing. You're stealing time. How about when you're talking to somebody and you're not telling him full truths? You're stealing his mind. You're stealing, Gnevat Da'at it's called. A lot of times also stealing has to do with doing business honestly. Today there's a new term that says, what? Business is business. You know what that means? Business has its own rules. Judaism and Torah is out the window. That's between 6 and 8 in the morning, and then after work 5 to 7 in the nighttime, and that's it. But when it comes to business, there's no Jewish business ethics. But the truth is, there is a way to do business. To do business with Kiddush Hashem. That when people look at you, they say, wow, what an honest man. You got an extra $10,000 in the bank. Oh, sir, I'm sorry, you gave me too much money. The lady in the cash register gave you too much, you give it back to her. Your kid walked out with a toy by mistake, you walk back, you drive back, you come to the store, you tell us, sorry, my kid walked out with this thing. Show them you're honest. Don't tignov. Ed sheker, don't be a false witness. Lo tachmod, don't covet. You know,
This is very important.
Number 10, I have to read it to you because almost everything is in there. If you go to Perek Chaf, Pasuk Yudalet, it says over there, לא תחמוד בית רעך, לא תחמוד אשת רעך, ועבדו, ואמתו, ושורו, וחמורו, וכל אשר לרעך. It says, You shall not covet your fellow's house, or his wife, or his servants, or his maidservant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to him. In other words, today, stop looking across the street or the next door neighbor and covet and be jealous of his car, or cars, or the house, or the clothes, or the jewelry, or the maid, or anything that belongs to him, or his wife. Every single person has their own journey in this world, and they have their own yitronot and chesronot, things that Hashem gave as a plus and things that Hashem gave as a minus. And what you look on the other side, that is the perfect thing for his journey in this world. And for you, Hashem gave you the perfect pluses and minuses in your life for your journey. You can't look at somebody else because it's not your story, it's not your journey, it's not your neshama. Your neshama doesn't need his story. Your neshama needs your story. So there's no reason to look elsewhere. It's a waste of time. And if you do that, your mind starts to work, and what happens? You start to lose focus. The truth is that these 10 commandments are not connected so much to the lesson, but I felt like it was a good time to maybe go through it and see how much of just the first 10 we're able to perform. Let's zoom back out. Let's think outside of the box again. Hashem is talking to us and He's telling us, you want success? You want to be a successful person after you left your personal mitzrayim? You know, anybody that lives life through the parashiyot, what do we do in Beshalach? Everybody was supposed to take their personal mitzrayim, wrap it up in a bow, and bring it to shul with you. And when the Az Yashir Moshe, you say, Hashem, here's my personal mitzrayim. Here's the financial problems, here's the zivug problems, here's the shalom bayit issues, child raising, health issues. Hashem, here's my personal mitzvah. I brought it to shul. Now I'm going to sing Az Yashir Moshe, Shirat Hayam with all my might, and I'm going to imagine that I am walking through the splitting of the sea, and the sea is going to close in on all my problems, and I'm going to come on the other side of it, no mitzrayim, and fully rich. If you did that in Parashat Beshalach, it says that you left your personal mitzrayim, regardless of what your personal mitzrayim is, then what does He want you to do this week? He says, you left your personal mitzrayim behind. Lekach tov natati lachem, et torati al ta'azovu. You want to go up now? You want to be a success? Here we go. Parashat Yitro. Yitro, HaTorah. What's inside the Parashat Yitro, HaTorah? 10 commandments. Start with the top 10. Why? He says, I want you to plant the seed. Plant the seed. You want to be a success? Everything starts with something small. Why? Because we are right now in the week of Tu B'Shvat. What's Tu B'Shvat all about? Planting the tree, planting the seed, right? And we know that we need to plant the seed for our spirituality as well. Why? Because Adam, Hu Eitz HaSadeh. We know that the man is a tree in the field. But before you're a tree, you have to plant a seed. What's the seed? Aseret HaDibrot in your life in Parashat Yitro. Now, why does He want you to plant the seed? Because in a few months, Hashem is coming to check your success. In a few months, He says, I took you out of your Mitzrayim. I gave you everything that you needed. I gave you the book of instructions. I showed you the way to succeed. Here's the first 10 that will lead to 613. You planted the seed in Tu B'Shvat during the week of the flourishing. Let's see what you made of yourself. And you have to fast forward now to the month of Elul. In the month of Elul, Parashat Ki Tavo. In Parashat Ki Tavo, it talks about over there, which we know what's the energy of Elul. The Elul is Teshuvah. I'm sorry. Hashem, forgive me for everything I did. I want a brand new year with brand new Hatzlachot. He says, okay, no problem, but let me check. Let me check you. So in Parashat Ki Tavo it says, Yadam hu etz hasadeh. So I always, for a few years it bothered me. What does it mean that a man is a tree? I never understood what does it mean that a man is a tree. And not only that, in the parasha, it's very interesting. It's the parasha that says that should you go to war, should you go to war, and you go by a tree, and you want to knock down the tree, the law is you can't do it. Why? Because there's two conditions. If it's a tree that's a fruit-bearing tree, that has tree, you cannot chop it down. But if it's a barren tree, or a tree that doesn't give fruit, it's sarak, that tree you can knock down. It's like, wow, I'm at war, and then I have to chop down a tree? I'm allowed to chop, not allowed to chop? What is this whole thing about? And over there also you have to zoom out. Why are we talking about a fruit-bearing tree in the month of Elul? Because Hashem says, in Parashat Yitro, you planted the seed of the Aseret HaDibrot. I'm coming to check you in Elul. Are you a fruit-bearing tree? Did you grow? Let me see. Did you do chesed? Did you do mitzvot? Did you learn Torah? Did you honor your parents? Did you not steal? Did you not lie? Let me see. Not only that, not only did you do it for yourself, but how are you? I mean, were you an influencer? How are you with your children? How are you with your wife? With your friends? With the people in the community? Were you able to teach them? Were you able to even interact with them with the ways of the Torah? And if you say, he's a fruit-bearing tree, then then I can chop you down. What's the lesson over here? The halacha is, if it's a fruit-bearing tree, you can't cut it, right? Hashem keeps all the halachot. So if ha'adam hu'etz hasadeh, if the man is a tree. So right before Elul, Hashem wants to know, mi lachayim ve mi lamavet. How does he decide who's going to be alive and who's going to die? Well, let's see. If you're a fruit-bearing tree, halakha says, I can't chop you. You got to keep going. Why? You give fruit, you do mitzvot, you teach, you learn, you this, you that, you're performing. But if you have another tree that all does sucking from the ground, just taking, not doing anything, not giving any mitzvot, no fruits, chop them down. No, it doesn't continue for the next year. Hashem says, and then Hashem says, if we look at it, is the parasha talking to me? I'm going to paint it all for you in one shot. Yes, the parasha is talking to you. How? Last week we got out of Mitzrayim. We left all our problems behind. This week is the time where the spiritual energy changes from the dark energy to the light energy. It went exactly on Tu B'Shvat. Right now, all the good luck comes to the Jewish people. And this is the time to flourish, to grow in everything. Parnasa, Ruchaniyut, anything that you want in your life right now is the time to go for it. And Hashem says, now that this energy started, what's the first thing you do? HaTorah. What? Aseret HaDibrot. Take this capsule of the Torah, put it inside of you, and start to grow. Start to grow. I'm coming to check you. I'm coming to check you in Elul to see if the seed that you planted gave fruit, or if he didn't give fruit. Is the parasha talking to us? Absolutely. What is it telling us? It's telling us it's time to get up and go. If we were laying low because of the spiritual energy that's been around, that's understandable. That's what we were supposed to do. There's certain times that we play offense, certain times that we play defense. Right now, offense. Hashem is saying the time has come. Get up, do, grow, flourish, learn, study. You're going to have power. You don't think you can learn Gemara? I'll show you can learn Gemara. You don't think you can keep Shabbat even better than what you keep Shabbat right now? I'll show you that you can. You want to make Parnasah? I'll help you make Parnasah. Why? Everything is there. The energy is there. And it's going to be here for a short period of time, and it's going to disappear again. And then it's going to come back again in a year. So Hashem says, this is the time to start. I'm giving you all the signs. All Mitzrayim is behind you. It's time to go. And how? Lekach tov natati lachem. The basic instructions that I've given you, this is going to be your success. Sometimes we have to zoom out of the Pesukim and see that the days are talking to us, the months are talking to us, the holidays are talking to us. And which way are they talking to us? They're talking to us to get up and go. Sometimes it's good to sit and read. Sometimes it's time to get up and go and time to perform. And that's what Parashat Yitro is about. Parashat Yitro is about receiving the Torah that has all the yeshua that we're looking for. All we have to do is apply it, and later on, you will be that fruit-bearing tree in Elul. And when the time comes to l'chaim v'lamavet, but of course l'chaim, you're filled with mitzvot, filled with maasim tovim. שהשם יברך אתכם, שמח אתכם, and בעזרת השם שנזכה לגמר חתימה טובה. Early we say it from now.